Secretary General of African Socialist International, this organization created by Chairman of Malaysia to complete the Black Revolution. History, uh, recapturing our history is the mission of the African working class. Not just talking about recapturing our future, but also recapturing our past. Because if you don't know your past, as Marcus Garvey said, it's like a tree with our roots. So we need to know what we have done in the past, what we have contributed to the past in the past. So we are fully aware what our capacities are, what achievements were, and also what we can do today. Because we need to have confidence in African working class, confidence in ourselves. This is just something that's fundamental. You can't really, understate that. And every day, the bourgeoisie is attacking our history, making sure we don't gain the confidence we need to have. Confidence in ourselves. And we are African internationalists. African internationalists, teach us to be confident, to investigate the world, to understand everything that we need to understand, because everything can be studied and understand. So that's what we're doing. We want African working class, we want African people to know our history, to take it, from the hands of our oppressors. So today, we'll be looking at ancient African creations that changed the world. And our creations are numerous, so a lot of it. So we're not going into everything, but this is a process where we want everything we done in the past, becomes common knowledge. The regular African, knows, what we have done in the past. And this also is a fundraiser for the work we do, because we have to reach out to all Africans. We have to unite the African nations. It takes resources, it takes time to do all this work, and we want you to support it. So we are able to build our capacity to reach everyone. So you get information, it will show up on your skin, probably not now, but it will show up. But what you need to know, you can support us anyway. You can donate anything you can, but you can also buy our mask. You can see the RBC black, mask, and it's two-sided. You can wear like this, or you can wear with RBG side. It's only 10 pound, and you can also have this one, or this one, so I just want you to know about that. Okay. So what you see in front of you is the a statue of a a pharaoh, basically, that was unveiled to the public on the 2nd of October by the government of Egypt today. So they're still finding a lot of things, and you need to be aware the African history is also business not just for the Egyptian government in Africa, but for Egyptologists from Germany, from the US, from France. They're writing books, making documentaries. It's a billion-dollar industry, and these are history. We are the last person, to take it as a business. So we need to know our history. And when we talk about African history, particularly Egypt, because Egypt, everyone thinks about the pyramids. That's the one if the image that comes to the brain of everyone. Oh, Egypt, oh, pyramids. But the bourgeoisie, to undermine our consciousness, they say pyramids were built by Jewish people, and there is a quote I got from the Guardian newspaper, the 11th of January 2010. This is the quote. So the Egyptian enslaved the children of Israel with backbreaking labor, and the Pharaoh put them to work to build buildings. And all of us went to schools, in Africa. I was taught that, but it's not true, because when the pyramids were built in Africa, what they refer to as Jewish people didn't even exist. There was no mention at that time of anything you can call Jewish people. So it's not true. And of course, because they've been exposed, and they start writing about that, saying that yes, there was no there was no slave labor involved when the pyramids were built. So you need to know that, and then on the same article, of 11 January 2010, there is a German Egyptologist we say that it's common knowledge in serious Egyptology that the pyramid builders were not slaves. The myth of the slaves building pyramids is only the stuff of tabloids and Hollywood. So you need to be aware of that. In fact, the bourgeoisie, when they do that, they want to justify that everybody did slavery, including black people in African Egypt. They did slavery, which is just untrue. So we need to know that. And for more of the things we invented, because we have to see ourselves as inventors, and we have to connect to our history. This was the great scholar Cheikh Anta Diop said, there must be a historical continuity. So our consciousness, is not just aware of things we did 500 years or 1,000 years ago, but from the very beginning, of humanity, there must be historical continuity. We have to know what we contributed in the past, and that's really important. And the calendar is one of the things that really mesmerized me. Really, really mesmerized me. Just to be aware that the calendar we're using today is a creation of African people. That's just, it's just I have no words, to explain that. And the ancient Egyptian, basically the ancient Africans, use a calendar with 12 months of 30 days, and each for 30 days each, and for a total of 360 days per year. And about 4,000 before Christ, this calendar was already in use. And as you know, the year has 365 days. So they have to do something about that. So they added 5 extra days at the end of every year to bring it more in line with the solar year. Because the calendar we use today, is a solar year. You might call yourself Christian, so Muslim, but the calendar in use is solar calendar, because I've seen documentaries saying Africans in Egypt, they worship the sun, but the calendar we use is a solar year. Yeah. So, and also the tendency is always to say that Egyptian civilization emerged at the same times, or almost after, the Mesopotamian civilization, or a civilization in the Mesopotamia in the Middle East. This deliberates, to say that just to deny the Africans being the first known civilization. So if the civilization in Egypt emerged some 3,600 years before Christ, but the writing you see in front of you was already in use 4,000 before Christ. So it doesn't make sense. And also, generally speaking, the Europeans, white people, can't claim it because they know Africans were the oldest. Then they say people in the Middle East, but white people are older than people in the Middle East. So it doesn't even make sense, because the older basically you go, in the past, in history, what do you find out? People who were in the Middle East were Africans. So they run into contradictions that they can't solve. And the ancient Egyptian had 3 calendars. Just think about it. They had 3 types of calendars. So they have the civil calendar. They have the sidereal calendar, and this was in use 4,236 before Christ. They have the lunar calendar. You can see just the intellectual development taking place in Egypt. And you cannot have this intellectual development if you're not free, if you're oppressed, if you have to rely on your oppressors to sort out things for you. You will not be making history. You'll be making history for them. But here, Africans are making history for ourselves. We're solving the problems for ourselves. And that's why we're able to come with this, just marvelous civilization that lasted over 3,000 years. And it's important for people to know that it's not just the queen, the pharaohs, people like that, people from the ruling class that makes history. It's not that. It's the ordinary people who will produce life for everybody. They will produce life for themselves and also for the ruling class. And you can see workers were part of the society. They were the majority. They produce life in society. And what is important here is the first recorded labor strike. You know, there is no older document than this one. And this is 12th century before Christ, during the reign of the New Kingdom of Pharaoh Ramses the Third. And these workers were not paid. They due basically. They were paid in the grains, from the word I understand. And the rulers will not pay them, so they have to go on strike, and they have to do a sitting. So it's not a new thing. Is sitting. Uh, and then after doing the sitting, the ruling class was forced to pay them. So the point here, no strike, no gains. If you want change, we have to fight. You know, and these just demonstrate. And I want people to realize that Africans in ancient Egypt were involved in the struggle. To move the society forward, to solve the problems, to stop the oppressed. Anyone to oppress them, the ruling class to take advantage of them. They are contradiction in every society. So you can see example of it. So the work is organizing. And in terms of sports, I chose this one because most Africans will not even think of fencing game. Because fencing, when you see fencing, you see white people, doing all this fencing. But fencing existed already in Egypt. This only, I took that from a document written by Peck, 1978. I think it's published, with Louvre Strachan. But the point is that's a fencing. I have more images I didn't show you, but it's just one of them. And all those things I'm telling you, the bourgeoisie is aware of it. They're aware of it. That civilization began in Africa. Egypt is obviously the highest expression of it. Civilization didn't begin in Africa. Didn't begin in Egypt, but Egypt is the highest expression, the highest development of African civilization. So people need to be aware of that. And women, as you know, played a leading role in shaping that society. You see women at all levels of leadership shaping society. Women are free. You don't have these women being like a house pet. You don't have that. In fact, the basis of law, law in society is based on matriarchy, which means around women. Like if you read the Torah, the Judaism, or the Bible, but or the Muslim, they tell you the base of law in those religions, is the cow. That's what they say Torah. Basically what the French call Torah. The cow is like the symbol of the law. In Africa, in Egypt, it's the women, the symbol of law, because it's based on the matriarchy. So it's really fundamental to know that when you mean the rule of law. How can you have the rule of law if the women have no right, if the women are not free, if the women are not parts, not only leaders of society, but shapers of society? And this is something the African working class has to be aware, because we're trying to build a new world, a new society where women will be free. There will be equal leaders and shapers in all levels with men. So, but the Queen, I forgot to say, that was a board game. As you saw, it began basically the oldest evidence you will see is in Africa. Women playing board games. Here you have, the makeup. This is the box. For the makeup. Eye makeup is just one of them, but everything to do with cosmetics. Using the henna. Body oils, soaps, and perfumes, eye paints. And these, you got a box there. There are many types of box I didn't show you, but this is one of the box. Just imagine African living society, they have the cosmetic box, with all the equipment they need for the lips and, for the eyes. And that's fantastic. Just, in fact, what people need to take from this presentation, we invented modern life. So when you go to school, they teach you about antiquity. You can't call this antiquity. You can't call these dark ages and things like that. They already entered modernity. Everything you see there is used today. Everything you see there is a modern life, from the board games, cosmetic box, and all these things that make part of the modern lives today. So we need to be fully aware of it. African banquets, just like the Huru movement's banquets, when we do banquets. So if this can be magnified, you will see in details Africans, you can see serving food, this one on the second row looks like a magnificent cake. Uh, People are singing. I mean, just these, all this stuff, these are 1,000 years before even there is, the emergence of Greece, or you name it. All these names you hear today, or religion here of today, didn't even exist. There was nobody who was Christian or Muslim or Judaism. Didn't exist. Africans were free, happy, in control of our destiny, our land. Making technological innovations. Just incredible. You can see it also tells you about the status of women. Free the women away, and partying, while being free, as opposed to partying while being oppressed. That's what we do today. We are partying while being oppressed and colonized. And it's not nice to be, partying while you're colonized. We were partying while we're making revolution, that'll be better. And Egyptian, when I say Egyptian, I mean Africans. You go be aware of that. Created modern medicine. And these quotes from Herodotus, the so-called father of history. It came late because Africans, we're making our own history. You just have to go to Egypt to see evidence of our writing about our own past. We need to wait for Herodotus to come, to record that stuff. Each physician, a doctor basically, he's a healer of one disease and no more. Some of the eye, some of the teeth, some of what pertains to the belly. These specialists even had specific names. Dentists were known as doctors of the tooth. Basically specialized doctors, not just being a generalist, but specialized in one field of medicine. All these things happened already. You can see the basis of a modern life. Modern medicine is already there. These is papyrus, Edwin Smith. They should really call it Edwin Smith papyrus because it's not Edwin Smith who wrote it. It's Edwin Smith who took it. It might have been bought it from somebody who stole it or himself. I'm not sure, but some of these papyrus basically are not in our hands. They're in the hands of our oppressors. And this on our surgical techniques. Just think about it. A surgeon can read this and think that he's dealing with, a patient today in 2020. He's so correct, so precise, so developed, so modern. But this was 1,600 before Christ. And there was no Greece. There was no Rome. People need to know about that. And these, if you look on the right, you have medical instruments. On the left, you have a prosthetic toe. Can you imagine? You lost your toe. They will make a prosthetic toe for you. This, they didn't wait for, somebody to pray to the east or to the west or something like that. These Africans solving our problems, creating better conditions for life, and investing in our own capacity so we can, be able to use our creativity, no limits. You can see if you look on the right, you see the instrument, the medical instrument. Most of them, are exactly the same as the instrument the doctors are using today. I don't know if you can, I can make it bigger here, but you can see the instrument. These are modern instruments. And all these stuff you can use. You can, if you want to see more about that, you can go to your ancient.eu, and then you look for Egyptian medicine. You will see it. There is a website, www.ancient.eu. You will find all those things in there. And of course, if you look at what's happening to Africa today, That's why knowing history is so fundamental. We should not accept our conditions today because the mortality rate following medical procedures in ancient Egypt was probably less than that of any European hospital, in the Christian era until the mid 20th century. The medicine in Egypt was far advanced than anywhere else, particularly in Europe, until the middle of 20th century. Isn't that something? And when you compare it to Africa countries today, you can see, you know, the backwardness we're living in because of colonialism. So when you know what you can do, then you know the condition we're living in. Then you should reject the condition we're living in. We should reject the causes of conditions we're living in. Is parasitic capitalism. Is colonialism. Is white power. Is opportunist African petty bourgeoisie. Is a white power in the black face that preventing us from going forward. So we can really be in control of our future and be able to solve all the problems that we have because we have the capacity to do it. But what we need to do is make the revolution so we can have the united Africa nation and united African government of the African working class that will be able, to make Africa a center of world's medicine again, because we will have all the resources, all the capacities, everything will be geared towards solving the problems of the African nation and serving the people. The governments, if it's not a government of the people, if it's not a government for black power, it's not our government. And that's what needs to happen. And here you're looking at Big Bang built on African science because we are so used to see everything being defined by our oppressors that we don't even question. We're just sending our children, go to school to get a white man to teach you, but it's going to teach you our own science. Just like African presidents come to Europe or America, borrow money, our own money. The same way we go learn something we already developed, thousands and thousands of years ago. When you see the obelisks on the right and you look at the Big Bang on the left, it's the same science being used to do that. It's the same. The inspiration for the Big Bang, I'm saying, is the African obelisk. You can see that for yourself. There is no doubt about that. And if you look at the bridge next to the obelisk, you see the piles, the columns going to water. And you will see in the next slide, we also responsible for developing a stone building, making all these columns, in the form of cylinders or, stuff like that. And there's sophisticated mathematics involved. She tells you how advanced, African science was developed. In fact, that science is what basically was passed on to the Greeks, and everybody else who invaded Africa was able to, to learn from the science developed in Africa. And you can go anywhere in London if you see the columns, and the buildings like that. You're looking at the African science. You go to the United States, in fact, it's everywhere. The columns could be inside the buildings, the columns could also be outside the building. But you'll be looking at African science. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. It's everywhere. London, Paris, New York, everywhere you go, you're going to see those columns. And notice the artistic impact or motifs basically on the top. It's just fundamental. And you see a bridge or a ceiling in the front, and this knowledge you can implement it on a bridge for the trains and bridge for the just for the cars and the buses to pass above that. It's really profound. And the same Eiffel Tower. I can bring more examples, but they're all application of African obelisks. Mastering the art of building huge structures that carry heavy weight, and with those structures collapsing or things like that. So it's just fundamental physics, mathematics. This physics applied mathematics anyway. So here you see different African hairstyle. There's nothing new. You can see the brother on the right. His hairstyle. You see that on the street. The brother in the middle, you can see he has straightened his hair, decorated. All these motifs you see today Africans, trying to do something with their hair, and most of the time you will find out it's not new. It's something we've been doing a long time ago. and it's just so important for Africans to understand that. By the way, what you see here, we're dealing with grapes, making wines. We didn't wait for, the French or the Italians. We didn't even exist as, a nation or people as we know them today. But we were already making wines. We already dealing with grapes. Africans just need to do that, making our own jars and uh, and things like that. So if you can move it, please. These are also we're dealing with the African hairstyle. You can see, it's kind of medium afro, and this information also the one before you can see that they are from Afro textured history. Tambo. You Google Afro textured history, you should be able to see some of these uh, 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 information. So professional hairdresser. You can see the picture on the right. The hair's being done very professional way. The person is sitting probably in a hair salon, and you got the mirrors on the left. They've been decayed, but just what you see today when you walk into hairdresser for women or men, you will see if it's well organized. You will see definitely uh, you know, and this is not a big version of the same picture. You can see the lady has a mirror, and the person on the left, is doing something. I'm not sure exactly what is giving you, but imagine you're in a hair salon. They got this conversation, and the professional, woman is doing the hair, and the person looks at somebody of bullying class or something like that. And the woman on the right, it's like she's going to a competition. It could be, Africans have got talent show organized by the whole movement, something like that. She's there dressed just elegant, just elegance. You can see in those pictures. It's like they are in today's. If you're a tailor, you can be inspired by that. In fact, one of the reasons we're doing this program, we want you to be inspired by that. Just like the Napoleon went to Africa with at least 150 scholars from France, the cream of France, intellectual to Egypt, and he said, "You're sitting on a 40 centuries of history. Be inspired by that." So that's our civilization. We need to, to look into our past, the best of what we did. Some of them can be brought back, at least inspire us to do something, great. So yeah. And you're dealing with African history. Look at the combs. Look at them. And it's just incredible. You can also see this in the Cairo Museum. And look at the portrait of the sister on the right. Look at an African hair, a black nose, and these are 1,000 years before Christ. It's just incredible. Just incredible. And that's what, when we say modern life, you know, we laid out the foundations. That's what you're looking at. If you want to do a portrait, it's going to be hard to beat that portrait. Just look at elegance, uh, classical. How the portrait looks. It's like it's ageless, and of course the comb. Just the art. To the comb. It's not just a simple comb. It's an art also, which you don't see anymore because we're buying all these plastic combs coming from, our prices making combs for us. We should not be buying combs, making them ourselves. Yes, we're. And the same elegance that you see of the portraits. In fact, you see the hair. All these styles are the styles you can see on the street today. That's what we're saying. If you know your history, you know what you can do. In fact, you can even be inspired by that. You can always see the women in Egypt, with some headband and things like that. Just the hair is done beautifully. That's just incredible. So they set the standards that we can, learn from. And the same here. It is also is from our Cairo museum. Look at the wigs. It's African wigs. It seems they're made from African hair too. They're no, saying they buy something uh, led by wigs. We don't even know where the wigs are coming from, what chemical content those wigs have. But these are our own wigs, made with our own African material. Maybe African hair, don't know, but they are wigs on the left. And you see the elegance, hairstyle on the right, all these to inspire us. When I say look sharp, you can look sharp like, the picture on the right, yeah, these sisters, they look so sharp, just elegant. And here you have in blue is a wig, you know, just look at the wig, with a headband around it. That's our wig. We made the wig. And on the left, you have extension, just like the sisters today by extension. That's an extension too. But these are our own extension, our own industry, our own technology, you know, and self determination, self reliance. That's what we're calling for. We go solve all the problems. We go take control of what we need, and any social force preventing us from doing that, we go overturn that contradiction, overturn that relationship. That's why we are opposed to colonialism, which prevents us from doing things for ourselves. We are opposed to African bourgeoisie because the African bourgeoisie is incapable of building an independent African nation. They made us an appendix, basically colony of anybody who needs access to wealth, to resources. We are there to produce value for somebody else. We are there to make history for somebody else. We can't do that anymore. We go produce for ourselves first and make history for ourselves, for the African nation, for the African working class. That's what we need to do. So make our own extension. Razors. People have to be aware. I have access to so many information, but there's no time to select all this information. There are all kind of razors. Some of them look so modern. And these are some of the razors men and women use, to remove hair from the skin, armpits, and things like that, you know. And these are also another razor from Egypt. Just unbelievable. They use metal like copper, any other material. And remember, what I'm showing you is just, I can't show you everything Africa has made. This is the process. We're going to do African history. As I said in the beginning, in previous programs, it's not something we're going to do just 1 month because the colonizers say October is the month of Black history, that we're going to do Black history. No, we're going to make history every day. That's what we're doing it in this month, October, on a weekly basis. But we are determined to make it on a regular basis. So our children, our people, particularly our youth, our children know their history. They don't go to school ignorant of themselves and their history. We need to know. So they can tell the teachers, that's not our history. That's your history. In fact, it's not even true what you're saying about us, about yourself. We know your history too. But this is our history. Nobody should tell us our history. And so the curriculum has to change. Be able to define our own curriculum and spread, develop, vulgarize, make African history accessible to every Black person on the planet Earth. Make the colonizers' history redundant, negate their history, as the chairman would say. Make our own history. This is the women making beer. In the admixture of of beer. You go know, as I say, the women shake society. Sometimes when we say we made beer, we don't mean the men. The women made beer. In fact, you have to know African history says that Isis, the goddess Isis, invented, discovered the wheat to make the bread. So the women not only play the leading role, but are also producers of life, not just giving birth and carrying men in the womb, but they also transform nature. They were involved in the contradiction to transform nature, to extract what we need to make life, to move society forward. They played a fundamental role. Here you can see they're making beer, they organize as a collective. You can see working together. It's just incredible. That's African women for you. And I love this picture because it's like it's a family portrait, and you can see there is what you call it There is a mother there. There is a father there, and there is a daughter there. And I should give you the name. So you have basically the Pharaoh Amenhotep the third, and you have his wife, Queen Tia, and the daughter. So, and this also you can find it in Cairo Museum, and this comes from academia.edu, and the article is social status of elite women of the new kingdom of ancient Egypt, a comparison of artistic features. And it's just incredible. So when you're in control of your history, you define to the world who you are, as opposed to anybody goes to Africa, uh, UNICEF, Red Cross, Médecins Sans Frontières, anybody, USA, all these parasitic organizations that take pictures, make videos, make fun of us, and put us on television everywhere to the point our children don't want to go to Africa, at least don't want to be identified for Africa because somebody else is defining who we are. So struggle, resistance has to be on all screen because we need to change these conditions. And our past, we need to know it. We need to recapture that. We're not saying people should just study the past and be information consumer. We don't want that. We want you to be an actor for change, to build a new world in the struggle against white power, in the struggle for black power, in the struggle to mobilize the African nation to win the best of us into the political party that we call the African Socialist International, because this is an organization for all African workers and peasants, all black people who believe in a change, really change, to end parasitic capitalism. They have to be part of. It's one African people. It's one nation. It's one revolution. And we say that's how we build this organization. And you have to join us. We're making history, and we will studying history so we can be more capable of making the revolution. Everything is for making the revolution. Everything is for making the revolution. We're not doing anything just to be smart. It's good to be smart. We want to have working class that's smart. That's what we want to change, to contribute to the development, to the growth of the general cultural level, scientific level of the people. You have to make time to know who you are, what you have done. And I hope what we have shown you makes sense. We hope what we've shown you, contribute in the growth of consciousness by learning our history. And as I say, this is a fundraiser, and we want you to help, to contribute. There is no limit, but our immediate goal is to make £100. And if you can do more, do more, because as I say, so much to do with little resources, and we hope you will contribute to make us move forward. So you're gonna listen to the announcement.
Uhuru. Thank you, Secretary General Luwezi Kinshasa, for this enlightening presentation on the African origin of humanity. And thank you all for watching and supporting the work of the ASI, the African Socialist International. I'm Pat Lumumba, a member of the African People's Socialist Party, and I've been involved in Black history for over 20 years now as a volunteer. And just like our parents and us, our children today, we're being denied our own history. It could be in the media or in schools. And that's where most of the time of our children are spent. That's where most of the minds of our children are spent, in the media and in schools. And it's unacceptable. It's 2020. And we're still being denied our own true history. That in itself is a crime. That in itself should, make us feel outraged. Now, because we don't understand or know our true history, it prevents our young people from going out into the world with confidence, because they don't know who they are and they don't know their role in the African origin of humanity, let alone their role in the origin of civilization. This system wouldn't exist without the blood, sweat and tears of the toiling masses of African people everywhere. In the period when we witness on a daily basis the general crisis of imperialism, we want to make sure that our children, young people, and adults have access to Black history, to African history that's fit for the challenges of our time. And with the African Origin of Humanity series, we want to grow our capacity to do more by reaching out to more people. And your donation makes this happen. It really depends on you. We want to raise the confidence of all our people everywhere. And by raising the profile of the African Origin of Humanity series and the other projects of the African Socialist International, we are asking you to donate to help us reach £1,000 during Black History Month. No contribution is too little, and there is no limit. So, for example, one person could say, yep, £1,000 contribution. Or we could have 10 people who donate 100, 20 people, £50, or 40 people, £25. Again, donations can be higher, or donations can be lower, or anything in between. All donations are gratefully appreciated. So to donate using PayPal, it's uhuruesi@gmail.com or PayPal me /uhuruesi, or you can make a payment direct to the bank account. All of this information is available on the slide. We thank you in advance for your kindness, solidarity, unity, and support in bringing about the change our community needs. And I'm confident that we can do this and we will win because of your support. Thank you and Uhuru. Enjoy.
Uhuru, thank you, Comrade Pat, for that. And I'll just self-critical because I said £100. What we're doing for the whole month, for the duration of history, Black History Month is £1,000. That's basically what I should have said. So just want to remind you, you can order the masks. It's £10 each. This is also another way you can support the work we're doing. You can get this mask, double-sided. You can wear the RBG side or this side, or just a one-sided mask. This one, we've got many choice. African material. These are the only ones. There are lots of it. So you just you choose which one you go for. Get in touch with us for that. And we just want to say thank you to everyone who took time to listen. Please share. Tell your friends, tell your cousins, tell your uncles, tell your daughters, your daddies, your mummies, your grandparents. Tell everyone in African community, to watch it, to support it, and to keep it moving, so that more people know about our history. We need to be in control of it. And also want to let you know about there is this is a weekly, so next Sunday at the same times, you should not miss the next Sunday. I want it's going to be just very interesting because there's so many things you need to know. This is only part. As we said, we're looking at over 3,000 years of African history. When you look at Egypt, when you look at Africa as a whole, you're looking at at least in terms of a civilization, we're talking about at least 100,000 years, possibly. All the things we created that contributed to the to the foundation of what we call today modern world. So next Sunday at the same times, do not miss it. So we just want to say thank you once again to everyone who listen, and you can also go to the website, thebanningsea.com, for more information. Also, how you can get involved with the work we're doing. So, Uhuru, everybody, and we look forward to see you next Sunday. Uhuru.